Welcome to Bipolar and Surviving. This is a blog and now a podcast of stories about living with bipolar disorder and surviving. Whether you suffer from mental illness, know someone with it, or are otherwise affected by it, this site offers real stories of hope and survival. As always, feel free to check out our website at www.bipolarandsurviving.com. We are also available on Facebook and Twitter. Feel free to give this episode a rating if you happen to like it, and also to share it on social media. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome to this week's episode on bipolar and surviving. This week I'd like to talk about a topic that's very near and dear to me. It's about getting motivated while depressed. So it's something that is something that I found to be powerful in my life, is figuring out ways to overcome depression and to get things done while not, feeling like you're pulling teeth or things like that. So I hope you enjoy. Here are my thoughts on getting motivated while depressed. This week in my support group, one person mentioned that they really didn't want to do things like physical exercise or going to group that night. However, they said that they did it anyway and are so glad that they did. The depression around his actions melted when they said, "Okay, depression, I see you, and I'm going to do the opposite of what you want me to do anyways. I know you will go away, if only a little, if I do what you don't want me to do." In dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, a method used mostly to treat another mental illness called borderline personality disorder, also known as BPD, this is called opposite to emotion action. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which is a treatment for depression, this is known as putting action before motivation. No matter what you call it, the underlying premises are clear. 1, action becomes before motivation, so action comes before motivation. 2, acting against what your depression wants you to do or not to do is a surefire way to feel less depressed. Let's tackle the first part, which comes from CBT. Action comes before motivation. When depression strikes, it is easy to feel lethargic, sleepy, and unmotivated to do anything. The logic is that one needs to be motivated to do something, and then one does it. However, it is the opposite that is true. So you don't need to be motivated to do something. You need to do something which will make you motivated to do it more. By performing an action or activity, no matter how much your depression fights you, you'll become confident, happier, and here's the good part, that lifting of depression will be the cause for you to get motivated to do even more. So doing things motivates you to do more things. This means that there's less room for depression in your life. You have weakened it by participating in life, and the more engaged you are in life, the weaker the depression gets, further and further. So that's the CBT model. The DBT model is quite similar. Depression wants you to be lazy, lethargic, sleepy, tired, hopeless, fearful, angry, and unproductive. While it's good to have periods of downtime, there's a big difference between normal downtime and downtime caused by depression. When depression strikes, notice what it wants you to do. If it wants you to sleep 10 hours during the day, try being awake more. If it wants you to stay indoors for the weekend, walk around the block a few times. If it wants you to bury yourself in a mountain of food you don't need, try drinking some water. In other words, when depression strikes, do 2 things. 1, recognize what your depression wants you to do, or what your depression does not want you to do. And 2, do the exact opposite of what it wants you to do or what it wants you to not do. By acting the opposite of what it wants you to do, you are doing something similar, or something useful, that frees you from the grips of your emotions. You're weakening depression, very similarly to the CBT model, but this time you're factoring in your specific emotional state and the specific things that is preventing you from doing at the present moment. So what this means is that, as in CBT, where you are acting and then using that motivation to do more action, in this case, you are acting the opposite of what it wants you to do, which is, acting, which makes you feel like you want to do more things, which makes you feel you want to do more things, and that weakens the depression. So they kind of go hand in hand, and they kind of, go along parallel paths. So they're both valid. When I feel depressed, for example, I tend to bury my sorrows in working too hard. That's one of my coping mechanisms. I struggle with this even when I'm hypomanic too. But when I'm depressed, it affects me even more. So I do the opposite of what my depression says. I pet my cats, or I eat a healthy meal away from my computer. But sometimes I also cope by playing too many video games. I am unmotivated to do anything, and I have hardly any self-confidence to do anything at all. So what do I do then? One thing I like to do then is write music. Even if it's crap and I throw it out after, page after page of just crap music before writing something that I actually like, it gets my mind going and I get motivated to do more, to be an active participant in life. I'm not motivated to write music at all, but I perform the action of writing music and I become more motivated to be an active part of life after I take the action and not before I take the action. So by writing music, even though I might not be as engaged in it or as producing the best work as I would like to do, just the sheer action of writing music makes me feel more motivated, more confident, and then when I do write something that I like, it's great, and I feel the depression lift. So to conclude, DBT and CBT give us tools to combat the lethargy and lethargy and despair of depression and its related inactivity. I hope that by using the opposite to emotion action and by taking action before getting motivated, you too can weaken your depression and have fewer periods of extensive inactivity and pessimism about you being able to function well again. You can be a well-functioning person in spite of your depression. And I don't mean pretending to be high-functioning but feeling miserable inside. We're not pretending here. We're not saying, oh, everything's fine, or I'm going to excel at a high level and then crash when I get home. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that you can truly feel confident in your abilities and actions and lead a more motivated and fulfilling life. Lead the life you want to live. Take your medication, go to therapy, and work on defying your depression. It thinks it is bigger than it is, and it doesn't know that you are more capable, smarter, and more diligent than it is. You can and will succeed, and you can and will weaken it. In the meantime, as usual, keep on surviving. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another episode. And just one last note, thank you for everybody who listens to this. It really helps me feel like I'm not sending things just out into the void. It's great to know that I can share my story and the stories of others that I've learned and kind of aggregated into these brief topics. I hope you enjoy the format. It's intentionally a bit short so that everybody can kind of take a listen, kind of ponder things, and be on your way with your day. So anyways, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Your support means a lot, and yeah, see you next week.